What's up, everybody? So I was perusing liberty.me today, and I liked a little article that I thought was so intriguing. I wanted to note it for you, and also I wanted to add a little bit to it. So the article is, "Hey Austrians, Where's the Inflation?" It's by Nick Newell. I'll put the link down below so you can check it out for yourself. But it's a great article in terms of asking, why is it there this hyperinflation? Hyperinflation meaning that the prices are surging up really high with respect to dollars having been printed by the Federal Reserve. And the claim here is tied to specifically all of the bailouts within that 2008, 2009, 2010 realm. And the concern that all the bailouts and the printing and the quantitative easing, that is aka printing money, yeah, fancy word, quantitative easing, right? Oh, just printing money. That happened during that time. Why isn't there super crazy hyperinflation? And they go through a couple of different aspects of why isn't there hyperinflation from that alone. They go through the cash balances aspect, that people are sitting on money, possibly banks as well. Trade deficits, talking about foreign held debts that haven't been called on. Technological advances, of course, dropping the price of things. And actually, I really love the technological advances as someone who's a big tech person. Big tech isn't like I really like following and using technology and being engrossed in technology. Just the fact that, and I notice this because I always check prices whenever I'm in a supermarket. I don't know, I'm not like an econ minutia nerd, but when it comes to the economics of life, I just naturally soak it in. And I'm always, if I'm at Walmart or Best Buy or wherever, I'm always looking at the prices. And man, they hit the nail on the head when it comes to the computer pricing thing. Because you look at the development of the computers from back in the day to today, and you look at the prices of the stickers, and it's like, man, like even with all, of the efficiencies that we have, the prices are still hovering, right around the same. You think, oh my gosh, by now, the technology will be at a point when you can go in there and get that super computer, amazing computer that's contemporary for a couple $100. But no, it's like all these computers are still hovering, at $400, $500, $600 for like your standard, workaround computer, and the only ones that are going down cheaper really are the ones that are giving you less, right? The Chromebooks, the little flip ones, the little tablets. You're getting less of the equipment for less of the money. There isn't this technological advancement where it's like, man, the prices are dropping because of technology. I've noticed that, and that's a pretty incredible point that you should take note of as well. The one thing that they didn't note about and here that I've noticed and have for a long time is that companies are actually acting with inflation in mind and happening. They're acting with inflation in mind to stabilize prices, that is, by reducing the amount of content that you get in a good. And this has been happening for quite some time. You have to have been conscious about it for a good 15 years now, maybe 10, 15 years at least, like just someone who's picked up on these things to really see what's going on. But if you were to go back, 2000 and before, you get a candy bar, for example, and you got a big candy bar. When you got like a king or even a regular sized candy bar, there was a lot of weight to it. There's a lot of fluid, either it's fluid ounces or solid ounces or grams, whatever measurement you want to call it. There was a lot there that you got for the money. Now those same kind of prices are sticking. It's $1 for this or $1 for that kind of candy. What the companies did is they gave you less. So it's like before, okay, you got, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 ounces. And now they do the same exact packaging, but they shrink it down to 4 or 5 ounces and keep the price the same, make you think everything's all fine and dandy. But it's not. And the same thing's happening in supermarkets. You look at cereal boxes. This is the stupid minutia that I pick up on that, nobody else really gives a crap about or thinks about. But you look at the cereal boxes and you'll see the boxes are still roughly the same size. They drop down on the actual amount of the product that you're getting there. I mean, I think there's been memes too on chips where they like give you the bag and it's like puffy and big. And you open it up and it's a lot of air and then a little bit of chips. It's a joke as far as the meme goes, but it's reality that companies are actually intentionally deceiving consumers by making the packaging look similar to what it always has been, but when you get inside of it, there's less of the actual product. And that's the way that they cost cut. That's the way that they keep the prices down as opposed to going up for what they would have been giving you before. That's how they stabilize things to make it look like everything's okay. That's a really big deal, though, that I think needs to be accounted for when it comes to the inflation aspect. Now, there are a couple other aspects that I think I've been watching. And, with the political winds changing, whenever there's major political winds changing, money shift. Some people get a little bit more money. The futures kind of trade differently because of it. And if you have, as you just saw, the Republican takeover, I think there's that basic assumption that, okay, possibly the social welfare programs are cutting back, so that sector is going to, cut back a little bit as far as, what those economic outputs would have been. And then, of course, all the war hawks and all the neocons are now like, yeah, okay, we're probably going to blow up some more stuff. So there's going to be more money in Lockheed Martin and all those, and, companies and investments that Raytheon that feed themselves off of these government contracts and defense contracts. So I think you're going to see the dollar superficially strengthen with those futures trading, but it's a superficiality because it's really only benefiting that old class who were into those kinds of investments. Obviously in the long term, once the head comes home to roost, proverbially, or is it the rooster? No, it's that. Or the chicken comes home to rooster. You're going to have a lot of issues. And when I say that, I'm talking about when the rubber meets the road. As far as regulations are concerned, there's nothing more to it. There's coming a point where the technological advancements are not going to cut it anymore. It's really incredible. It's actually mind-blowing just how much the software industry alone has pushed all this forward, because the other industries are way too heavily regulated. You think of pharmaceuticals or hardware. When it comes to software has really been the driving force behind internal savings within companies. Just a simple way of saying this is, maybe it took a team of 10 people 6 months to do something before, and now it takes one person, 2 weeks because of whatever technological innovation. Those kinds of savings are real. They're, within the companies, but it's not creating an outpouring of wealth, because most of these big companies are, of course, going to be acting conservatively, and I just say conservatively as far as fiscally goes, not spending or innovating. They're just trying to sustain themselves, especially factoring Obamacare and what's happening with that, how they have to implement that much more strongly as the rates go up over these next couple of years. So really the big issue that will change the game is, of course, if there's more warmongering, if there's more regulations coming out, especially economically, that can change things. But for now, the dollar is kind of up. You have the fun little things with ISIS, selling a bunch of oil and some gas prices dropping. That's great. But there is a false sense of security that is happening because there are a lot of people who are, both on the private sector side and, of course, the government side, who are trying to hide the ball of what's really going on. The people who really know what's going on, the people who are getting most affected, are the young college graduates, the millennials, who, of course, are suffering the most. They haven't seen the median wage rise. They're the ones who are not able to find the full-time jobs or have to work multiple jobs, who are not finding those old, strong health benefit package kind of jobs. They look at the retail jobs when they graduate. They're the ones who are worse off than the generations before. Those are the people who are really feeling it. The people who I would say right now are between the ages of 18 and especially like 18 to 30, maybe early 30s. Those people, of course I'm one of them, are the people who are hurting the most. A lot of the other people who are maybe 35 plus, they're riding it out. They're trying to get all their entitlements and trying to get all the stuff that they've been riding along from the past 20, 30 years that they've built up their wealth on. But really the people who are feeling the struggle are the millennials, and especially the younger millennials. But yeah, I think that's just a great article to read if you're into the monetary theory study and just trying to understand. Okay, there was a whole bunch of government bailing out of companies, and there was a bunch of printing. Okay, why don't we have hyperinflation yet? Why isn't this stuff like really getting crazy? There's a lot of factors to it, but it didn't change the underlying wealth creation. That's the big point that you have to take away to understand the bigger picture, is that just because there are things that are being done with private companies and the government to hide the rise of prices or the dramatic rise of prices doesn't mean that everything else is hunky-dory, or that, you know, there's a slowing down of the creation of base wealth. And I define base wealth as the efficiencies in providing water, food, shelter, and technically healthcare or life sustenance. You know, the things that you need to survive as a human to be, you know, living well and doing well, those kind of base needs. Wealth is the surplus on that end, which allows, of course, people to then get into leisurely activities and to have extra to help those in need. That part, the wealth part, that's a whole other story. The wealth is not going up. The wealth is getting depleted from the past. The prices are being held the same because of all this ball changing and because of all these games that people are playing. But that's something important to take away. So I hope you found it informative, enjoyable, and fun, and I will talk to y'all later.